Okay, I think, yes, we are live stream on YouTube. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Worldscope Mundane Astrology. Well, this month we have a lot of people join us. We have Nando and Luiza, Liz, Anna, Joli, Maria, and Grace. Well, Mark, unfortunately, Mark has some important things to do, and Lian feel a little bit under the weather, so he's working really hard because we have kind of a 3 hours meeting earlier today, so that's why I was just like, oh my gosh, she's working so hard. Okay, so well, what happened now? We just one after another because we are kind of quite shocking when early this year, just after New Year, Trump take down Maduro, and we just like what? We just couldn't catch a break. He just like taking down one after another, and then while we are, just thinking he probably not going to do anything else, then he start to working together with Netanyahu to bombard Iran, and then financial astrologer already see that this year we will have a huge financial crisis as every indicator come together. But we just don't know. Well, of course, we should know Trump will play the important role. Last time he had tariff, and this time is war that block the channel to transport all the petrol, all the gas, all the oils. Now we are going to experience another inflation, high energy price, and oil price together. So today we are going to focus on what happened in the Middle East, and we will start from Liz. Liz, you are going to show us a little bit about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction related, right?
Yeah. That's what I plan on doing. Can you hear me, Rod?
Yes, I can hear you, and you are co-host, so you can feel free to share your,
Okay, here I go. Let's see if that's gonna work.
Yeah.
Okay. So if this idea for this little presentation is coming from a piece that I wrote on the Saturn-Neptune conjunction for the CIA last year, and it popped up on my Facebook feed, so I reread it and I thought that wasn't bad. So I'm using it as the base for this talk tonight. So so I'm starting just to show the discovery chart of Neptune here on the inner wheel. And what I thought was really striking, just before Donald Trump's inauguration, just brief, quite a short period before, the secondary progressed sun in Neptune's discovery chart moved on to the 0 degrees Aries point, and it was opposing the sun in its discovery chart. So this seemed to me to really draw Neptune really into focus at this current time. And we know, of course, Saturn-Neptune are conjunct in the discovery chart as well. But given the shift of the sun and the Saturn-Neptune on the Aries point, I felt that there seemed to be, this is what the article is about, there seemed to be, which was published last summer, a particular focus on Neptune. So we can see, which is really interesting, I guess, from a mundane point of view, is that we really can see Neptune on the Aries point, because even though some astrologers think that oil is a Plutonian, is ruled by Pluto, actually it's ruled by Neptune. Because shortly after, I think it was within 10 years of Neptune being discovered, the first oil well was drilled in the US. And then we had, sort of kerosene. And what is oil? It's, left over for ancient seas. And with the discovery of oil, we see as well that the whole whaling business, because up until that point, whale oil was the main source of lighting, was used in gas lamps, etc. That whole market fell away. So Neptune clearly has a strong relationship to oil, and certainly what we've seen with this current escapade in the Middle East is, of course, that there's just sheer market chaos. The whole energy supply of the world is certainly under threat at the moment. So even though if you look at this, you can see that actually by 2024, we were already seemingly like needing a lot less oil. This is not really how it works, because at the same time, our global oil consumption rose exponentially as well. So we're still heavily dependent on oil. So that gives you a sense of how ill thought out this escapade is. So this is a quote from Michael Badgent about Neptune and war. And I mean, he makes the point that Neptune particularly has a relationship with war because of its association with confusion and delusion. And they give the example of fascist Italy, where the main motive for war was national glory, but the main result was confusion. And what we're seeing, I think, with this really strong Neptune presence in play at the moment is this idea of Neptune, because with the opposition of the sun in the secondary progress chart to the natal sun, it's given us an opportunity to kind of get to know Neptune better in a way, and how it's manifesting not only in the area of oil and the crisis in that area, but we are also seeing the most bizarre things, like, for example, the poly market and Kalshi betting. I mean, I think one guy made $500,000 on the first day of the war, betting on, the likely prospects of the war, and betting on the day and the time that it would start. And this is still carrying on. We also have the strong presence now of AI being introduced into modern warfare. And as a result, if you look on Instagram, I think I shared a post yesterday about the fake AI war and all of the fake images. And in the article from last year, I was talking about fake news, false flags, lies, damn lies, and statistics, because there's a lot of false information out there. And the figures that come out of the Pentagon when they give a sort of press statement, or you get an interview with somebody like Hesketh, and certainly Trump as well, it's really confused messaging coming out. So this was something else I thought was interesting. This is the midpoint modal sort for Iran. So if you look at where Saturn and Neptune have been moving over in terms of the midpoints, then, this is one of the ones. This again is from the article where we talk about, where I mentioned, the cozy description of what this midpoint means. It's about a crisis in leadership, and this is exactly what's happened in Iran. And it's also on the Sun-Neptune midpoint, which points to a good deal of confusion there as well. Saturn has also been on this, the Israel North Node conjunction has been transited by Saturn-Neptune. And we see what's happening with Israel is that it's becoming more and more isolated. It's no longer considered, I think, by many countries to be a worthy ally. It's kind of becoming very isolated, I think. The opinion towards Israel has changed greatly through the war already in Gaza, and this is just another layer of that, I think. And it's on the US Mercury Uranus midpoint. Saturn-Neptune has been transiting that. Neptune is still on it. So there's this, brutal frankness, inspiration, which I'm not seeing, and intuition, I'm not seeing that either, I might add. But yeah, this is just a little flashback to the kind of deeper midpoints that are being triggered. We see, for example, around the time of the Capricorn Ingress in 1978, which was when the uprising against the Shah, which led to the overthrow of that regime. Uranus was angular through the Middle East at that Capricorn Ingress. And that transit in Uranus was on the Neptune-Pluto midpoint, which is, the very slow moving midpoint, but it does point to deep change, purgation, and transformation of the deepest collective level. And we see a similar thing now with the Aries Ingress. We have transit in Pluto transiting Uranus-Pluto midpoint, and obviously the Aries Ingress as well, showing, you know, that the planets are still sort of honing in on that area of the world. Just a little look at the USA midpoints, because they speak volumes as well. You know, what's happening there in the coming months. I mean, leading up to the Aries Ingress and beyond to the Saturn-Mars conjunction in Aries. There's a whole lot going on in the US midpoints as well. The Mars, Sun-Mars, for example, but the Sun-Neptune, I think, is a really big one for them, and the Mars-Saturn. So, yeah, I'm just wondering how, and Saturn-Neptune, which points maybe to some losses at sea, if Mars comes up onto that point, which it will. So yeah, this is the next Mars-Saturn conjunction, which will be in April. So we're heading into that. So yeah, just to round up, you know, how strongly the Middle East anyway resonates with Saturn-Neptune. So, you know, the famous Balfour Declaration, which was a total betrayal of Arab leaders towards the end of the First World War, because they were promised independence, they were promised so many things, and they didn't get any of it, because the whole area had already been divided up by the Balfour Declaration, which they knew nothing about at the time. Under the 1953 conjunction, this was when Britain and the USA came together to overthrow the Prime Minister of the time, Mohammed Mossadegh. This was a motivation, again, purely because of oil. You know, the new the government in Iran, it was a democratically elected government, by the way, had decided that they wanted to have more of the income that was being generated from their oil reserves. And of course, that was not acceptable to the British. And so they orchestrated, it was very Neptunian as well, a horrible campaign of thuggery on the street, and, you know, just to overthrow that democratically elected government and to put the Shah in place there. So when we shift forward then to 1989, we have the death and the funeral of the first Ayatollah Khomeini, which was the one who came back post-revolution. And this funeral was the biggest crowd gathered on our planet ever. And it was absolutely insane. I don't know if you've ever seen any film of that funeral, but they started the parade, and the crowd was so enraptured or whatever that they had the coffin, the body was, I think it fell out of the coffin. They had to withdraw the whole thing, go back and rethink it, and have a second procession with the coffin, I don't know, somehow protected from the crowds that were gathered. But it is known to be the biggest crowd that ever accumulated in one place in our planet's history. And so, yeah, this then is the final chart that I have, which is, again, the current Saturn-Neptune, which, again, is focusing on the Middle East. And here we have, the USA-Israel war in Iran, roaring lion or epic fury. It seems that Donald Trump is really enamored of the term epic fury. He was praising it yesterday he's doing some campaigning, election campaigning, and he was just totally, you know, praising this name. But yeah, it's again, once again, the that area where the oil is, which is, as I said, very much Neptune in play. It seems that this crisis there is going to be going on for a while. So what have we got, guys? We've got, you know, $11.3 billion has been spent. You know, we have the world economy in chaos, and we are countless dead later, and we have replaced one Khomeini with another. That is what we've achieved. So that's my contribution there, Rod.
Thank you, Liz. It's so inspiring and really go deep, and historically research. Thank you so much, and so happy to have you back. But I believe many of our colleagues want to, you know, comment or join the discussion. Anyone like maybe Joli?
Yeah.
Thanks, Liz. That was fantastic. And yeah, there's so much there, isn't there? I know when I was looking at the recently deceased Ayatollah Khamenei, his he, I believe, had a nodal axis at around 25, 28 degrees Aquarius. And what you'll notice in just even from the charts you were showing, that both 1953 and 1989, it was the nodal return. So North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo. And that's what's up on deck right now. We're about to shift into
Mm.
North Node in Aquarius and South Node in Leo. So I think this is a particularly, um, you know, emphasized, highlighted time for the region. I do want to also just throw out there, I appreciate no one's probably going to do this, but um, Middle East is a very colonial term
Mm,
because you
yeah.
think about where middle to whom.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
And
agree.
so the term I'm trying to encourage people to use is SWANA, SWANA. It's Southwest Asia, North Africa to
Mm,
describe the region. And
mhm.
that is a much more geographically accurate term. And I would, encourage everyone to try to use it. I know it may seem like more of a mouthful, but I would love to shift the narrative on this.
Well, yeah, only until everybody gets used to saying Swanner, and then it's, you know what I mean? Then it's,
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
no,
Thanks,
yeah.
I
Liz.
agree.
But didn't
Yeah,
we just have, was it, we had some kind of, was it what did we have recently on 28 degrees Aquarius?
um,
The
Uh,
eclipse.
eclipse.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah.
eclipse.
So that area is definitely coming in. There's more to say about the charts as
Yeah,
well, but I know
I
we're going to be looking at the Aries Ingress with all of us. So I've
yeah,
kept a few things for that, which also have bearing on what I've just shared. But it's nice to, keep that for when we do our thing together.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, any other comment before we hand it to Maria?
Um,
Luisa,
we also
please.
have the square, the Uranus-Mars square on the
Yeah,
28th degree. And I'm
yeah.
always fascinated with how all these planetary symbols um, have other dimensions and interpretations. So Liz um, uh, made a case for oil being Neptunian, and I totally agree. And we have this conjunction with Saturn, which in fact restricts oil.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah,
if you
Literally.
look at
Yeah.
it from another point of view, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, restricting oil. Oh my God, that's what happened.
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
And
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
one other
Definitely.
aspect, which is much more sensitive, it's I think that if we say the word bully, I think we have Saturn in Aries, Saturn in Aries embodies like
Mm,
no other combination a bully.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Neptune in Aries, like the Berlin Wall, it was a destruction by crumbling because it was in Capricorn. Now it's destruction or dissolution by fire.
Mm.
Look what happened.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
haven't seen Netanyahu in days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm leaving this bullies and destruction by fire
Yeah.
out in the open. Maybe it's a complete madness, but if we look at symbols,
Yeah.
there they are.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
There's also
Yeah,
the lack of responsibility, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
mm,
like, for example, with we don't know exactly what AI is being used, to what extent it's being used. We know that there was a misfire which hit a school where 150 children
yes.
are killed. And it's very, the coordinates, but you do, I do. I wonder, is that a result of, Claude or Anthropic or one of the, AI tools that they're using. It's just, where's the responsibility for things that are going wrong there?
I don't think we can say it was a misfire though, Liz, because it was double tapped.
Well, you
they
know what I
hit the
mean. It's
school.
maybe
No,
an
I appreciate it,
injury.
but just for clarity's sake, I mean, one thing that we can also say for Saturn and Neptune, though, going by what you and Luiza have presented, Trump is the embodiment of Saturn, Neptune, and Aries, because, just the other day he was asked, well, now we have credible evidence that the school was hit by the US. And he went, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. That's the point I'm trying to make with Saturn in Aries. It doesn't take the time to really process things. I mean, the nature of Aries is quick, 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 whereas the nature of Saturn is slow and steady wins the race, right? Take your time, think things through, so the two are quite incompatible. And it's like, we're going to go in there, it's like we're going to bomb our way to a democracy in the region, and it just isn't going to work with a country the size of Iran. I mean, it's a massive country. I think it's the same size as the whole of Western Europe. It's a really big country,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's bitten off more than he can chew with this one, really.
Yeah. Grace, feel free to turn on your microphone. Yes, please.
I mean, in the first February and Leo full moon, in that moment, transiting Mars and Pluto conjunct Iran's Mercury and Mars, it bringing a lot of anger. And in that moment, Uranus in Taurus, 27 degrees. And I think I read my teacher wrote your book, and fixing, it conjunct the fixing star angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something like Uranus with angle. It's like height.
Yeah.
Maybe losing the head of country. I don't know.
We will see. Yeah, I have something to show you later.
And something and in this month, March on the lunar eclipse. I think the lunar eclipse in 12 degrees Virgo and conjunct Iran Saturn, maybe.
Wow.
I think. And the Saturn is the rule of 10th house MC.
Ooh. That really explains their spring leaders, So
Yes, and Mars square Uranus, and Mars also opposite Trump's Mars. And
I
also with Israel's Prime Minister Mars also, I think. I don't know, but I just look a little bit.
It's all fired up, isn't it? It's that like, this explosion of sort of, fire. It's like, as well, it's also war, a spectacle. You wake up and it's on the telly and it's, flames and fire, it's like it's the vision, the camera side, the film side of Neptune we're seeing very strongly, the visuals, this visual of almost apocalypse, black rain falling from the skies, and it's quite it's pretty destructive sort of force, isn't it, at the moment in that area of the world. And everywhere else, it's on the world point, right? I mean, tourism is being affected. I mean, restaurants are closing. In India, they cook largely with gas, so, it's got a massive, I think, it's the axis of the world. It's affecting all of us. I think, we'll see our energy prices go up everywhere. Food costs will rise. It's having a real global impact, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Thank
Luiza?
you.
Well, Liz
Thank you,
just
Grace.
mentioned the effect of Neptune on visuals. And I don't know if in the middle of all these news and stuff like that, you've seen short videos making fun of each country.
Oh, no, share.
Okay. So
I can do with a laugh.
Short videos. You have like made by Iran, little like, you know, the little man on Legos. So little man on Legos is Trump and etc. and, you know, kind of thing. And then the US felt like they had, they press a button like cartoons. So we're back in the Roadrunner, boom, you know, like cartoons. So, and not counting all that are people who die.
Yeah.
And then the US responds with little videos that seem to be an encapsulation of what was the famous movie with Tom Cruise, Top Gun, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
just, you know, you're
Yeah.
there and throwing things and stuff like that. So I think this, and it's taken it to an extreme violence.
Yeah.
Because the people watching have been watching these movies, have been playing the video games.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's unbelievable, that use of Neptune in that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think I will read a few things like Nando mentioned about out of sight, out of mind. And then Joli mentioned, thank you, Joli. So Iran in the 1917 nice chart has a moon also in 28-degree Taurus, 28-degree Leo, 28-degree Taurus, 28-degree Aquarius. Oh my God. But I can't wait to hand this to Maria because I've been waiting to hear Maria talking about the US Mars return. And then we will jump to back to you know, a little bit about Iran and Israel, look at the Aries English chart, and we will join the discussion, all right?
Okay. Thanks, Rod. Well,
Thank
get
you,
ready
Maria.
for more 28 degrees of Leo or Aquarius. So we know that, let me share this and make it bigger. We know that Mars is the big, what do you call it? The big monster this year, right? Everything is about Mars. And we are having in April the Mars-Saturn conjunction, and that's a big deal. So first of all, I want to recognize a Brazilian astrologer, Lia von Saber, who taught me this technique. I never used the Mars return. She taught it to me, so I thought it would be a good thing to look at the Mars return. And let me explain that the effects are visible months in advance. This happens every 2 or 2.5 years, but you can feel it in advance. So the first thing that I will show you is the Mars return for the USA in August 2024, and the one that we're going to have this year, right? So look at this year's Mars return. Look at that ascendant. Okay, and look at that midheaven, the degrees that you were talking about. So what we do with the Mars return is we use the chart of this return to explain what the country is going to be doing in terms of Mars, in terms of aggressiveness or whatever in the next 2.5 years. Okay, so this is the one that is active right now. Again, that midheaven and that I see in those degrees is really impressive. The degrees that Grace was talking about. And at that time, we had that Mars, Jupiter in the 5th with a lot of, with an expansion of verbal aggressiveness. It's always going to be about verbal aggressiveness because Mars is, I'm using the Sibley chart, is in Gemini. But anyway, at this time, we had, in this Mars return, we had Pluto right on the ascendant, okay? And a very, very strong emphasis on other countries, rivals, enemies, whatever. In the return that is going to begin in a couple of months, but we can feel it. This Mars is on the MC together with Uranus, okay? So this Mars is going to be about who controls the world through Mars, through that kind of energy. What can you tell me about the degree that is ascending in this chart? Does it remind you of anyone? That is quite impressive, right? So let's have a look at the Mars return of July the 29th compared, the inner wheel is the US and the outer wheel is Mars, okay? And of course, we need to look at Trump, right? Because we have the same angles. But we also had similar angles in the previous return, especially the IC was in almost the same degree as Trump's MC, but this chart is really impressive. We have exactly the same angles. So you can see how Trump is the actor of this Mars return of the USA. He's sort of the ambassador of this Mars return of the USA, okay? And one other thing that I was looking at is, of course, we have the Mars-Saturn in Aries in April. And this is the Mars-Saturn for Tehran. Look at that IC once again. Okay. And if we compare this with the Mars return for the USA beginning in July, you can see how the MC and the IC are in the same degrees. Okay. Venus is there. This is very important because women are big actors, big factors, play a very important role in what's going on in Iran right now. And again, I wanted to talk about the Trump's Mars return. Okay, this began last year in June 2025. Have a look at this. It's impressive, right? I don't know exactly what it means, but having the same degrees, to me, it's shocking. It's shocking. Also, I want to say that the last Ayatollah's sun was in the last degrees of Aries. Okay, and look at that MC for this Trump's Mars return. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this. I'm not an expert in politics, so I won't be making my political analysis, but I was interested in why are these degrees so emphasized at this time, okay? So again, we have the Mars return, that chart based on Tehran. We have the Mars return for Trump beginning in June 2025. And we have the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction of December 2020 based in Tehran. And again, this is 750 something, almost 8 degrees of Leo emphasized. So it needs, I'm sure that when we're going to be having full moons, new moons touching that degree, this is going to be important in this scenario. Okay, so that was all. That was me.
Oh, thank you, Maria. I was expecting that suddenly things could jump out. Okay, thank you, and that was really interesting. Fascinating when you see all those degrees keep jumping up. You couldn't make it up. Joli, please.
If it's okay, I just want to really quickly, very
Sure.
quickly share a chart that I think speaks to what Maria was saying.
Yeah.
It is in whole sign, but you can see that the ascendant descendant axis for Iran is at almost 8 degrees. Right? So we've got that already, and you could say, well, the ascendant is at 8 degrees of fire. So 8 degrees of fire, I think, is going to be really important. We can also see the Saturn is at 8 degrees. In other words, there's this repetition. The sun is at 10 degrees. So it keeps happening. Now, the piece that I wanted to just, again, very quickly mention is the fact that I'm really concerned about this chart. So this is the 31st of March, and you can see transiting Uranus falls right on the sun for Iran. We can see that it is, obviously the solar return, and this is what Maria is saying. Look at that Mars coming back to the Mars for the Iranian chart. So this is really, I think, a pivotal moment for the country in terms of what is changing, what is happening, both internally and externally. So I just wanted to share that really quickly.
Thanks.
Thank you
that
so
the
much.
Saturn-Mars conjunction is going to be at 7 Aries, so very near the sun.
The
of the
sun,
country.
exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. Anna?
Yes, Maria, excellent as always. I want to second what Maria says. Lia Bonsaber has an amazing course in Maria's Academy about Mars return. I took the course and it's amazing. So that's the first thing. The other thing is that I want to highlight, you mentioned about the 8 of Leo, which is the descendant of the Mars Saturn of Iran and is the ascendant of Trump. Recently, there were news that Trump is declared an enemy of Iran. So it probably is reflected that news. And by the way, 8 of Leo is very close to the Pluto of Trump. And the Pluto of Trump is in opposition to the Sun of Iran that recently Joli presented.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Anna.
It could be an exacerbation of something go against him, against Trump, I mean.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, before we jump into the Aries Ingress, I have a few things, but first I want to do insert advertising because this is also related to Maria, Anna, and I. On the 21st of March, both of 3 of us will be invited to speak at our dear friend Wade Cave organized the World Astrology Summit. This is for the Mundane Astrologer. It's a huge event and it's so interesting. Wade really, really well organized this group of astrologers from all around the world, Australia, South Africa, and then, US, and then, we're going to all talk about different topics. I know Anna is going to talk about the Peru presidential election today. You will give us a little bit of hint, right? And then, Maria, what are you going to talk about?
I'm going to be talking about the FIFA World Cup, the Soccer World Cup. And let me tell you that the final game has 27 degrees of Leo on the midheaven. Believe it or
Trump
not.
will be there. That is interesting. And I will present the situation between China and Taiwan. We don't know what's going to happen, that's what we haven't seen it yet. But that is the first part of our advertising. If you allow me, so if you haven't enrolled yet, please go to enroll these, sorry, I make a mistake. Please go to enroll on the Skyscrape's website. So, and you can, if ask where you hear this information, you can fill them Anna or Maria or me. Feel free, and so many astrologers. Dear Hakan will be there. Christine Skinner will be there. Maria is here. Okay. And also dear friend Paula will be there. And Wendy and another Rod Suskin will be there. And very famous Link Bell, and then Wendy will be all there. So that's one thing. Well, while I'm here, I have to do advertising for myself, for my school. So tomorrow, 14th of March, we have Christine Skinner talking about the beginner guide to money, to the birth chart. So if you haven't enrolled yet, please come to, go to visit the AOA UK website and you can enroll it. And then Keenan is going to talk about the Uranus in Gemini on the 28th of March. All right, so just feel free. Now, another thing I'm going to share with you related to this interesting moment is the what I'm going to do. Okay, so first is let's see. This is the Capricorn English chart before we talking about Aries English chart of the Jerusalem on the 21st of December. You can see the Mars. Mars is hanging there on the descendant, and that was interesting. Always simple technique. Increase eclipse. I know Nando is studying on the eclipse chart, and I hope soon Nando can share something with us. But a very interesting analysis is we know the moment they attacked. We have these, right? Israel start attack around 8:10 in the morning. And the Jupiter was on the ice is very interesting because that Jupiter is kind of hanging there, ready to change direction, change to direct, I think. And that was very close to the fixed star series. But more interesting things because I always try to kind of include the fixed stars in here. So this one is very interesting. If we check the fixed star, you really couldn't see any fixed star on the angle. Or, we know Uranus is conjunct Algol, and then Neptune is very close to Skiat, all these kind of things. But what would happen is, if you go to the astro map, what do we call it? The stellarium, sky map, you will fascinating the moment. Let me show you. You will just like, wow. This is stargazing, but also astrology. This is the moment when Iran start attack. This is the moment when Iran start attack. Have you seen Algol? Although in the astrology chart is 23 degree Aries, but for Iran's latitude, Algol already rising. Algol rising the moment they start attack. And what is another star ready to rising? In next minute, Homo is rising. The ram, the horn star of the Aries. So that is a huge war. That's a huge war. That's attacking things. So looking from the fixed stars view, this is fascinating. So I want to insert this, this idea to share with everyone before we jump to the Aries Ingress chart. So have you looked the Aries Ingress chart of the any country at this moment? Let's see. I want to share, but feel free to share, all right, if you want to share. But here I start with Iran. This is Iran's Aries Ingress chart. You have this 0 degree. 0 degree. I just like in the beginning, I say, have I made mistake? Have I don't make mistake to use the whole sign? Because I don't use whole sign usually. But when I see that, I will check. 0 degree Aries on the descendant, and the 0 degree Libra, and the Sun Neptune is right on. They are really going to kind of involved with all the other countries, isn't it? Let me take the stars off because they will confuse everyone. Let me take the star off. Oh, oops, sorry. Because I don't think anyone used the asteroid here today. Okay, so yeah, apart from Anna. Okay, anyone want to share any idea? I mean, we have the heavy 6,007 house.
Now that the midpoint between who was the sun and moon is the sun of Iran.
Yeah. Liz? Yeah. I mean, Liz, you're mute.
Right. No, I said I'd like to rewind a little bit to the chart
sure.
that you showed for the start of the war.
Oh, okay.
Because what I find interesting, if you look at the Aries Ingress, we've got Mercury stationing direct here.
Yeah.
At the start of the war, Mercury had, like, just 2 days before, on the 26th, it had turned retrograde. So we've got Mercury as well in Pisces, right? Which is a sign of, it's in its detriment there. And one of the things that has struck me about this whole, because it's all been taking place inside the sort of period of Mercury shadow, right? Is that Mercury is about, how we articulate things, how we frame them, how we speak our truth. It's also about slips of the tongue, etc. Words, have meaning, right? But this whole episode, that's taking place at the moment is taking place under this retrograde Mercury. So we're finding, for example, the Trump administration is finding it extremely difficult to articulate its reason behind this war. Why are they doing it? They have difficulty in justifying it. there's a lack of Congress approval for it. They took no time to explain it to people, which if you look at the war in Iraq, for example, there was a build-up that took about a year, where people were, told why, and they built up the story for weapons of mass destruction. But this has all been bypassed. And if you look at that Mercury retrograde in relation to Donald Trump's chart, then you will see that is squaring his Sun-Moon opposition. It's doing a lot to Trump's chart, that Mercury. And I think the lack of communication, which things might change now but Mercury will still be in its shadow period pretty much until I think the Mars ingress into Aries is when it comes out of its shadow. So it's quite a few weeks to go of Mercury still in its shadow phase. And I think that's impacted the rationale behind the war and also how it's been presented and its lack of credibility, or its lack of, no one understands it. Most people do not understand what this war is about.
We move to DC. So, well, this is the DC chart. Maria, you're talking about the midpoint.
No, it's the same comment that Anna made. So that's
okay. But you were talking about Caracas, right? In Venezuela.
When I talked about the midpoint, I was referring to the midpoint of the ingress for the Sun, and it's at 10 degrees of Aries, and that's the exact degree of the sun. But I was also mentioning that another country that has 0 degrees on the midheaven in the ingress is Venezuela.
Yeah.
So both Iran and Venezuela have 0 degrees in the ingress. But I think that Iran's is more spectacular because it's the 4 angles at 0 degrees, not just the MCIC. Yeah, it's impressive.
And Venezuela and Iran have the oil. Both have the oil.
Yeah, exactly. We're back there again.
Exactly. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We really couldn't make it up. And this is astrology. This is the point that make you fall in love with astrology. No matter what people say, talking about, you say no sense or something, which is like try to convince me not believe all this coincidence. Okay, any other comments? Should we move to maybe have a quick look in the US? So in the US, we have the 13 degree Gemini, and then there's no planet in the angle, but well, interesting. At least just talking about this Mercury stationary, and it's in 10th house.
Yeah.
What struck me is that a news I heard about is like Trump's indecisive and keeps swinging his reason or something is related to like there are 3 different opinions in his administration. There would be the people who insist to go to war. There would be the people who say, no, you are hurting the economy, stop it. And there are people who say something else, like you should be tough enough to to continue to doing this. So he was like keep swinging. There's people giving something to say. He's just talking about it. This Mercury is there, not only about confusion, not only about it, but it is also Mercury is administration, secretary. Those secretary who focus on Trump is, he's a key person, but all those voices around him are the result we see. Any comment?
I do think it's really interesting that we've got that 13 degrees of Aries, which isn't far from Trump's natal Uranus. So that ascendant 13 degrees, Trump has his natal Uranus at 17. And then also that, what was I looking at? I was looking at in Taurus, Trump's MC is at 24 degrees of Taurus, and here we're seeing 28 degrees of Uranus. So there's definitely we just keep seeing patterns again and again of how they're they're intertwined for sure. I do think that in the previous chart, just really quickly, Rod, when we were looking at Iran,
sure.
I do think it's fascinating that if you consider in the US Sibley chart and in the 1979 Iran chart, both countries have Jupiter for their ascendant ruler. And look at where Jupiter is in the 10th house. So this really is like a battle of the wits, battle of brawn, battle of
Yeah.
territory. We know Cancer is territorial, but here we see that, you know, with Libra on rising, well, that brings us to Venus in the 7th house, and of course the exaltation ruler is Saturn. So I just think it's really interesting that we've got both Venus and Saturn in the 7th house. It's so crowded. The moon is there. You know, obviously
Yeah.
Neptune oil is there. So, and Chiron is there too. So it
Yeah.
really feels like a painful process of transition.
Yes.
And insofar as, you know, if you think of the 11th house as allies and supporters, one way of thinking about it, 7th house could also be allies and supporters, but
Yeah.
the sun right beneath the descendant, it's almost like people are afraid to come out and show their hand. You know what I mean? Like, so Iran is kind of, maybe there's support, but it's not clear. I just think there's a lot there that you could parse if you went even deeper.
Thank you. Malia? You're mute. You are
So,
mute.
yes.
Yeah.
So I remember in December when we last saw each other, or I don't want
January.
that. I remember that we talked about China and the fact that Pluto was transiting on China's moon and what could
Yes.
it mean. And but now it's so clear that it's this dependence on the oil. So that is a crisis, you know. So I think that makes sense, having Pluto transiting we talked about, I don't know if you remember, but we talked
Yeah.
about China. There had been
Yeah.
problems. Okay. So I'm going to look at India's chart as well to see if there are
Okay.
any
I'm Luke.
connections.
Definitely. Lise, please.
Yeah, I'm just thinking as well, when I look at their Mars, that makes me think of shipping. It makes me think of the Iranian army and what they're doing with regard to water, particularly. We know that they've placed a lot of mines, floating mines, which is why, you know, the
Yes.
US fleet is not accompanying ships going through the Strait of Hormuz, because there are floating mines there, which if they hit one of these, you know, billion-pound US ships, they could do a lot of damage and it would make really bad PR. So that does look to me as if there's something still going on in that area around the Iranian sea fleet or whatever it's got to, you know, still inflict damage actually, you know, on America, which it is doing small losses all the time. But I think with a war that hasn't been properly explained, every small loss is one, you know what I mean? And I think it will add up. Jupiter as well is interesting, isn't it? Because I think Jupiter is direct now, and isn't that close to the US sun? I'm not quite sure what degree is the sun in the US chart, but I think it's getting close to that area, isn't it?
Should
Yeah,
be,
the sun is 13. So
Yeah.
there's sort of, you know, just there's also before the Aries Ingress, just before, we've had a late new moon in Pisces, didn't we? You know, so there is that feeling of, you know, events happening between that new moon the day before or 2 days before the Aries Ingress and the next new moon, which is close to the Mars-Saturn conjunction, I believe, that it's all going to have to play out, I think, in that period, because I don't think the US are going to want to stay in Iran too long, personally. I just don't think I think they've got everything to lose and Israel has everything to win.
Yeah. I agree. Anna?
Yes, let's remind me of one of the recent news about the current president of Chile, Cast, before he assumed his term, he had a conflict, or he mentioned that the government should stop the contracts with China about the internet wire system under the surface in the bottom of the sea with China. So it reminded me of this Mars in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, and if you wish, there is a reception, generosity between Mars and Neptune.
Okay.
Yeah, there was
Another
kind of
interesting
conflict.
And I think another interesting oil story, because we know that Russia also resonates with Saturn-Neptune. You'll see that today, I think it was, or yesterday, that Russia is coming back onto the oil market. It's because of the shortages. It's being allowed to sell oil again, which is, it's creating a lot of waves in Europe, because Europe is not into it at all because of the war in Ukraine. But there is now oil moving again out of Russia, and it's making again now large profits from its oil reserves. So Saturn and Neptune is also in play in the chart of Russia, as it always is.
Yeah, thank you. Luiza, please.
Say that I don't think that there are bombs on the Strait of Hormuz, because what they are using is high technology, and bombs in the ocean were used in World War II, and but these bombs are blind. If a ship hits it, they don't know which ship it hits. So I think that's part of this is my opinion. It's part of the disinformation, part of this Neptune disinformation, because I think that Iran wants the ships carrying their own oil to still leave. And if they did put bombs in the water, again, those bombs they don't know which ship will hit them.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of this information, because to me, it's not logical at all. This is the pressure, the Saturn pressure over water, but does not necessarily mean bombs in the water. It's just an interpretation.
Thank you, Luiza. And then, well, Maria just to report us. Maria, do you want to share that India's chart with us, please? Maria, is Maria still here? Sorry. Okay, I thought because Maria is talking about the Pluto in China's ascendant. And then Maria was talking about, just send a message out, say, India also has the sun at a 5-degree Aquarius. What a coincidence. So India has a sun in China's ascendant. Wow. They probably eventually working together. I don't know. So Pluto has impact on the sun, and India's sun, and then the China's ascendant. And you know what? That is a very, very interesting, because the one thing we have to know is from this is going to hit, like at this moment we know the global economic is coming down because of the oil. And then for the mundane astrologer, we know that Maria is back. Sorry, I was talking about, I was read through your text. Sorry about that. Yeah, and we know that there is a few hints. For example, from the American economy and the financial astrologer, I think it's Louise McWhite, her famous North Node cycle about the U.S. business cycle. When every time the North Node entering Aquarius is the crash, is the bottom line of the U.S. economic and the stock market. So we are anticipating that North Node move into the Aquarius. And another theory is Mars and the Uranus cycle. Mars-Uranus cycle usually cause the stock market crash. And guess what we have when the Iran attack? When Iran attacked Israel attacked Iran, we got, Mars square Uranus, and that starting everything's crushed. Even now, until now, nothing coming back. So, okay. Well, if everyone's happy, should we hand this to Anna? Because Anna is going to show us another important issue in the Latin America, please.
Yes, this is only a small part of what I will present in the STA.
Yeah.
Well, it's about the upcoming elections in Peru. Let me put my. Please let me know if you see my screen.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so we will have elections in Peru. The first round will be in April the 12th and the second in June. And the new president will be in office in July. Okay, so but in the meantime, we have a new president again. In the day of eclipse happened another crisis, and we have this new president, which is Jose Maria Balcázar. And this is his chart. Okay, I won't go deeper in his chart, but what I want to highlight that this is a person that has 83 years old. Okay, he's from the left wing, but after Heri, there were only 4 options to vote, and some of the right wing gave votes to the left and made this person president. And you can see who is coming next to the house, okay? So pay attention to that, okay? So, well, this is his chart, and I will continue because this crisis happened in the day of the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse has to do with the downfall of leaders, and this happened in Peru. And I wanted to track why, well, we change presidents very often, but why with this date? So this is the Peru's chart with the president. We see some contacts, the moon with Mars, Jupiter in midheaven. There are some contacts, Pluto with the sun of Peru. Okay, I continue. The solar eclipse in the natal chart of the current president took his south node. And he's very close to the Uranus return. And there were a lot of favorable contacts, such Jupiter, but particularly they were very close. But the most amazing thing happened because for me it was not enough. I observed that the eclipse with the south node, yes, it is supposed to be few months in charge, okay? But in Peru, everything can happen. So I wanted to see the solar in his progressed chart, okay? So this is the progress chart for the day the day that he became president, the day after the eclipse, and observe that the degree of the eclipse was close to his IC and close to his Mars, the progress Mars, and the Jupiters are much closer then. And Uranus is the midpoint between progress Venus and progress Uranus. That's what I found, but that was not my biggest surprise. This is the solar eclipse for the chart of Peru. So this eclipse happened here in the 5th house and in opposition to Venus square with Uranus that is now in the 8th house of Peru and Jupiter in the midheaven. So, well, okay, I didn't feel so happy. I need to dig more. And what I found in that the progress chart of Peru to the day of the eclipse, the degree of the eclipse was in contact with the sun, the progress sun of Peru, which is at the same time the progress IC of the president. Okay, so we have 1 degree of difference, and we spent 1 day without president. Heri left. Heri left the position in the same day of the eclipse. But the next day we had to vote for the following president. So we spent 24 hours without president in the very same day of the eclipse. Unbelievable. unbelievable. And I think that the difference is because the degree of the eclipse is 28 and the sun of Peru is 29. So 1 degree of difference. Why one day without president, nothing will happen and nothing will happen. And I think that at least I felt I slept very well that night, because I think, well, he is gone, but we have now this president. So if we want an example of how eclipse participates in the downfall of leaders, this is the one. We spent 1 day without president in the very same day of the solar eclipse. Yeah, but there is more. The Aries Ingress for Peru is this chart. I won't go deeper in details, but the IC will be connected with this upcoming solar eclipse in August. So I guess that something will happen again. There are more things to review, but I wanted to see that this is an ongoing process. There are many other factors about why Peru is changing presidents during a decade. That is something that was unbelievable to work, because it took me a lot of effort to figure out. But I think that this is an ongoing process. But this year we will have the solar eclipse in the IC of the Aries Ingress, in which I put the chart of Peru in the inner wheel and outside the Aries Ingress. We have the Jupiter is still close to the IC. Uranus is now in the 8th house, and we will have a solar return. Where we are close to a solar return, and the other factors that are there. The next solar return for Peru is this chart, and we will have the MC in the last degree of Capricorn. So maybe the circumstances may change. Okay, so. And we have the Sun and Jupiter in the 4th house, which is the opposition of the leader. So maybe more things will come up. And Chiron in the ascendant of the solar return. When I see the solar return in the chart of Peru, again, these are the concepts. And what I found out is that the same day of the solar return, we will have our Mars return. The same day. So we will have both events at the same time. So I think that this is also reflecting the fact that Peru will go back to the Congress, that will have the senators and diputados. We will bicameralidad. I don't know how to say it in English. We will have senators, Senate, and deputies. Now we have only one. Everybody is congressman, but now we will have 2, and we have Mars in Gemini that is reminding us that the competition will be done, because we will go back to the bicameralidad. So this seems to be very shaky year, and I think more things will come up. And the Mars return of Peru have this chart, and Mars will be again in the 10th house. In the 10th house, which means that probably a male could be the winner, or more conflict will come up after 1.5 years. If we progress the ascendant, something will happen around this time of period of time of the new president term. So this is what I wanted to share. Well, we can see here that the return Mars is very similar to the solar return. But what's curious is that both returns will happen the same day. And we have many candidates. We are overwhelmed about the process, and things move very quickly. And it's expected, in Peru, it's always expected the famous outsider. Outsider is a candidate that has a low profile or low rates of popularity, and suddenly he rises up and wins the election. That happened with Fujimori, that happened also with Castillo, but everybody here we are trying to figure out who will be the outsider that could be elected as president. So the polls that we have have to be taken very carefully because they are not the last word. So the more we get closer to the day, I think that the certainty will come up. But at this point, everything can happen. Everything can happen. And who knows if we will have another president before the election. Because as I mentioned, the current president, there are rumors that he is not showing up to in the media as he did before. Now the rumors started about his health and something. Well, he's 83. So everything can happen. Everything can happen. So this is what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Anna. Even I'm talking about these serious things still making me laugh. Thank you, Anna. Because one thing is like when Anna comes up, Anna talking about it, she has a headache about this election, and I was just like because of 38 of candidate, not only 38 candidate, because Peruvian like to choose a low profile president. I like that down to earth attitude.
No, but is it no profile because we are fed up of the classical ones.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I remember when the presidential election with Fujimori had a low profile, a very small campaign with a very low budget, and the story gave him this opportunity to become president for many more than one term. The same happened with Castillo. But because with Castillo was different. Who is Castillo? Nothing. And then they created, because that election for me there was managed, and they made him a winner. And I was and Keiko, that she wants to be president, but she has power behind the scenes because she has many congressmen related to her party. So she moves. She's the one that says yes or no.
Yeah.
For Heri, for Nabo, yes, she moves power in behind the scenes. And another one. So the pools that are here, okay, yes or no, and we're fed up. And what the Peruvians now we are looking for, and I think that the Mars return is reflecting that, is that we want a Bukele, in terms of Bukele, the president of El Salvador, who stopped the criminal activity. That's what Peruvians want. But few of the presidents mentioned about the security policy. So I think that this Mars is also reflected. Talk about how you, president, will protect me. We want a Bukele. We want a Bukele, something like that. And nobody, few of the candidates have mentioned about security because it's why? First of all, some of them are part of the criminal activities. That's why they changed the constitution, and there is another criminal activity that has to do not with guns, is to have the power of laws. So you put people that in the Congress, etc., and you distribute the power and say, I am a criminal, okay, but you will clean my record. That is a business. That is a business behind the scenes. So the president is a figure that could be a puppet, and journalists or somebody said that we won't select a president, we will select a hostage of the Congress. Because this is a business. So yes, and in the presentation in the SDA, I will expand the reason of Peru having many presidents. And because this is only one factor, but I didn't feel satisfied. No, there is more. And I found at least two factors, And I say, no, it's unbelievable. Was it you? Was it you? I remember that I was preparing the presentation and say, was it you that you were creating this organization? I cannot believe it. But and I hope that I hit hit the nail of the secret why Peru is experiencing this process with other factors that are extra astrological. But it's exhausting. It's exhausting for Peruvians to decide and then go another time with the same people, the same story, the same promises, and nothing happens. And there are many rumors, many information going on. So who knows?
Luiza?
Oh, sorry.
Luiza, want to make comment?
In Peru, when we say, oh, it's the election of the president, but there is a lot of elections going on the same date, right?
Yes, I mean, you mean in South America? Or
no, I mean in Peru, the same day they elect the president, they also
presidents, deputies, and senators.
You know, and all that combination must make impossible to analyze because you don't know what the weight of all these other people are, you know.
Yes, and there are many promotions, etc. But the paper to vote is a huge one. I don't want to see them now. I have an idea who I will vote, but I'm still trying to pick my vote. I mean, to select the one much closer to the dates because the candidates have not made huge campaigns lately. We need the debate. The TV debate is very crucial for Peruvians to decide. But it couldn't happen. And the other thing is that the southern part of Peru, the area that is close to Bolivia, the Andean, is very strong. And they have their own mindset and they show the love or hate very easily. One of the candidates traveled to that area to promote himself and he was received with stones, bricks, and and he had to escape. He decided not to participate. And some of the candidates had visited that area, but not all of them because they know how they react. So comparing to other campaigns, it is very, there's no much activity, but in general, I think that the electoral campaigns have changed because they move now the social media instead of having a physical presence. Okay, such Trump did it with, instead of traveling around, he went to the Manosfera, invited by Barron. So there is another another strategy for political elections that are not the presidential thing. So choosing many things at the same time, and the first is it will at least I have a headache.
At least talking about the US and the Peru share the same Mars position. You want to share with us?
No, it's just interesting because they've got that, Mars Neptune square, right? The US. So it doesn't seem, unless there's no drug issues with Peru, and it seems like I just Googled relationship Peru and US, and it seems like it's pretty solid from the go-get, from like the middle of the 19th century, which is it's a really old country, isn't it, as well? It was established in 1821. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, the UK is 1801, you know. So if you think of South America as a whole, I think it was established itself really early on as a country to find its borders, and
and this thing about Saturn-Neptune, we want a leader that is a saver.
Okay.
We want a Bukele, somebody that puts a limit to.
Is Peru in difficulty then, Anna?
In that side, but economically speaking, we are great, and that's what the people say. What is happening this? And the reason is that as we say in Peruvian, the real president of Peru is the president of the central bank Yes, because he remains, he's a guy, no, as a professional that he has in the position 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
He knows his job very well, and he has a good management of the policy of Peru, because the exchange rate of Peru, the sol US dollar, has not changed so much in 30 years.
Wow. Good
So
one.
yes, nowadays, because of the Iran thing, there are some little changes. But once the problem is over, we go back. We have a steady and stable and currency, including Bolivia uses the sol as instead of dollar in certain things, and the real estate activity, the transactions are done in soles instead of dollars. So we have a good policy, and due to the autonomous organization of the Banco Central de Reserva, leading by this person that is a good professional. He is the real president of Peru, and so
Okay.
he is that he knows his job, and well, he has seen passing by 10 presidents. Okay,
Well done.
Money makes the world go round, right?
Yes.
Sorry?
Money makes the world go round. You know what I mean?
Yes, money,
you know,
and he knows his job, so you tell me whatever you want, but I am the one that knows how to do that. So that what Peruvians say. We are very thankful to this person.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
If someone can run the country like that, yes.
Yeah,
Well,
but for
thanks
the rest
everyone.
of the world, but for the rest of the world, it's a
Yeah.
riddle, because how you have 10 presidents and your economy has not changed too much.
Yeah.
Well,
True.
Mars in Gemini, we have more than one strategy. Well, who knows? Because Mars is the ruler of the second house.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Mhm.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks everyone bring such interesting, contribution and share your view from the war. And then I still trying to correct myself. I nearly say M word, not M word. Swana, right?
Yeah.
No, because I am that kind of a type person. I really do also try to decolonize things. But what you learn before in the university, in the school, it keep going Near East, Middle East, Far East. Even I call myself I'm from Far East, but that's from UK's view, from European Eurocentric view. But yeah, I like the new words one. I will try to remember that. But also, the situation, like for example, Maria's present this technique of a Mars return, and we can see all these 28 degrees things, 29 degrees things is drive us mad. Like we continue to talk about these things last year. Since last year, always 28, 29, 28, 20. Even now, it's still 28, 29. Gee, and then thank you for Anna's presentation about the fascinating situation in Peru. That even just like and we know the secret. The secret president is the president of a central bank rather than the real president. That is fascinating. Well, thanks. I would like to say thanks to our audience today. We have a lot turns up on the YouTube. Thank you for joining us, and please like and share and comment. So we know what you like, and we can bring more different topics to you. And believe us, in the future we are going to bring more mundane astrology topic, even include mundane astrology webinar to you. Okay, thanks, and see you next month.